Okay, I started the recording. That's my new practice. Start the recording first, then go live on Facebook. Okay, let's go live. Okay, now it's live on Facebook. So there may be a guest today, or maybe not. In any case, I'm going to, if the guest shows up, I'll do the short version. If not, I'm going to get ready to do the long intro lesson. Let's see. Oh, I'm glad I started because it doesn't want to cooperate. All right. Now I'm going to screen share. Okay. Now let's start. Welcome to Karen Ryce's Raising Happy Kids Zoom show, episode 84, The One Rule Solution. During this 1 hour Zoom show, I focus on sharing tips and lessons on the one rule to raising happy kids. Each episode has at least one example of the one rule in action, demonstrating how it helps you raise a happy child. Then, when we have guests, we have Q&A and discussion. When I talk about raising happy kids or creating harmony with kids, I bring up the one rule. The one rule equals agreement. Agreement equals harmony. Using the one rule means you find agreement. That's the rule. You find a solution that everyone likes. You've found agreement. You've found harmony. Knowing and following the one rule is all you really need to create harmony between you and your kids. In any situation where there are differences that might lead to conflict between you and your kids, use the one rule. I learned this strategy from 3-year-old children. I was teaching them a complex conflict resolution strategy, actually intended for adults, and they taught me this. So don't think you're in for a rough time. It's simple, it's easy, it's powerful and effective. It works if you use it. The one rule: start strong. You have decided that you really want harmony with your child. That sounds so good, right? Everyone feeling good and getting along. You have decided that you do not want to make your child do what they do not want to do, and you do not want to do what you do not want to do, and you are going to make this work. You have decided that you want to use the one rule to make this happen. This is going to become your new habit. You remember that when you use the one rule, you are sharing the following messages with your kids. I want us all to be happy. We are each important. Together we can solve our problems. I believe in you. I love you. To create this new habit, you are going to start with yourself and what you want. You decide that you are going to let how you feel about a situation determine whether you agree with it or not. If it feels good, then you can agree with it. If not, you cannot. Think about a situation. Ask yourself, is this situation okay with me just as it is? If yes, your work on that is done. If no, what would have to change, be different, so that I could feel good about it? Maybe several versions of this situation would feel fine with you. Maybe only one. This exercise, this practice, helps you make a habit of following the one rule. No matter what age your kids are, this exercise helps ensure a strong start and makes following the one rule so much easier. Here is an understanding that might make following the one rule even easier. Recently, I asked myself a question. What do I want people to feel when they are connecting with my work? I definitely want them to feel good about themselves. Then the following answer appeared, to my surprise and delight. I want people to realize that they are already using the one rule. That understanding surprised me, and as more and more of it was revealed to me, it delighted me. Of course, people are already using the one rule. I'm not teaching them anything they don't know. I'm not teaching them anything strange to them. I'm just helping them expand their use of something they use daily without thinking about it. They use it. You use it. Every time you come to a decision inside of yourself, you are using the one rule. Most likely, you had to consider several options or possibilities to reach that decision, even if it just took you a few seconds for you to agree with yourself. That is what I want. You also use the one rule whenever you agree with someone else. Together, you come to a decision, an agreement. Yes, tomorrow I'll go to the auto parts store after I get my nails done. Even with your kids, you're using the one rule. You're coming to agreements. Think about it. Of course you are. You're just not thinking of it as a rule, as something required. So at times, you are not coming to agreement. I am here to help you think of coming to agreement as required, as a rule, as the one rule. You just expand the situations where you come to agreement until coming to agreement is just what you do and your kids do. It is the rule you and your kids follow. When you use the one rule, you're creating harmony. Your kids are creating harmony. You're becoming used to creating harmony, familiar with how good it feels to everyone involved. One point to be clear on is that even if a situation, seems complicated, and it seems that it is impossible to find a solution that everyone involved can feel good about, it is still possible. An important thing to remember is that there is a way for things to work so that everyone involved gets to feel good. Keep that in mind. This has been my experience whenever I've made this effort. A clear, helpful way to introduce using the one rule to your kids actually originates from the first time the children introduced me to what is now the one rule. You can do what I did. So they could understand what we were doing, I told the two little girls 3 things. 1, you are each important. Point to each person involved. You are important and you are important. And if it's your problem too, I am important. 2, you or we each deserve to feel good. 3, we are going to use the one rule to help this happen. Then tell them what the one rule is. When you actually start working with your kids using the one rule, helping them follow their interests is one of the easiest ways for you to start. That makes sense, right? It is also one of the most beneficial things you can do for your kids. Why is it good for your kids to do what interests them? One primary reason is that their interest is a key to helping them become the best versions of themselves that they can become. When we do what interests us, we are very engaged and focused. Think about doing something that interests you. When we are engaged and focused, what we do and produce tends to be of much better quality than if we were not interested. Interest helps result in excellence. An even more important result of being engaged and focused is that our whole being is involved in what interests us. That is why we are engaged and focused. We are experiencing harmony, inner harmony. That is a good reason to allow and encourage our kids to do what they are interested in doing. I have observed children doing what really interests them, and they become peaceful, harmonious people, even if they were not before. Now, it does not mean that everything that interests our kids is going to always interest them. They may be interested for 10 minutes, or 10 days, or 10 years, or even for their lifetime. The point is that they are following their interests, not the specific thing or experience that interests them, or the length of time that interests them. So if they ask for your help, please help your kids follow their interests. If for any reason you really do not want to do what they're asking you to do, that is a perfect time to use the one rule. Another reason for helping your kids follow their interests is one that is taking care of you too. When they are eager to do something, instead of resisting doing it, you do not have to encourage them to do it or insist that they do it, let alone force them to do it. Think of how much of your time and energy could be available for you to use as you wish. Helping them follow their interests is actually the one rule in action, taking care of you and your kids. I'm glad you're here. Okay, we will stop this screen share and I'll set up the next thing I was going to share with you. Let's see. Okay. Okay. The last couple of weeks I've shared previous shows from when this was, it was even a little different name. Anyway, so I was looking through some more of them and I came on this one. So I will share this with you. Okay. As we're going through the slideshow today, please think of situations with your kids or situations you've seen or heard of that might be solved using one rule, especially situations for today's homeschooling parent. That's because this show was during the time when most parents were homeschooling parents. We can do this after the slideshow. Do you ever come into conflict with your kids, especially now that everyone is at home and you have the added responsibility and stress of being their teacher? Would you like to transform that into harmony, even if you don't believe it is possible? It has recently become crystal clear to me, step 1, 2, 3 clear to me, the process where conflict develops, the habits involved, and what to do to change that. Before we get into that, let's do this little exercise to see where we are headed. Close your eyes and imagine this, your family, no conflicts, everyone getting along, everyone helping everyone getting what they need, everyone having a good time. Just imagine. Sound good? Well, that's what you can create with the one rule. This one strategy could put an end to conflict in just one session. I learned this strategy from 3-year-old children. I was teaching them a complex conflict resolution strategy, actually intended for adults, and they taught me this. So don't think you're in for a rough time. It's simple, it's easy, it's powerful and effective. It works if you use it. That's what it takes. You just have to use it. So let's get started. First, we are going to take a look at how conflict begins. In just about anything you can think of, there can be differences between two people. Picture this. No one has the same point of view. That means that no one physically looks out of your eyes except you. If 2 or more people are looking at the same thing, each person's point of view is different, if only slightly. Differences don't have to result in conflict. Everyone has differences. Differences in interests. Some of us would like to read, and some of us would rather play video games. Differences in beliefs. Some of us believe in the work ethic, and some of us believe that life is a playground. Differences in values. Some of us believe in cooperation, and some of us believe in competition. Differences in likes and dislikes. Some of us like chili, and some of us don't. That's not to say that we don't have many things in common, but when we have differences and do not know how to resolve them in a humane and peaceful manner, conflict develops. Out of the situation of conflict spring all the troubles that develop between adults and kids. Think about it. When you are angry with your kids, it's because they want one thing and you want another. Whether it is over bedtimes, you want them to go to bed, they want to stay up. Homework, you want them to do their homework, they want to watch TV. Chores, you want them to do their chores, they want to go to their friends. Whatever the issue. Learning how to resolve differences and the resulting conflicts in a humane and peaceful manner is what the One Rule is all about. Once you have made the One Rule your habit, you can avoid getting into conflict in the first place. The One Rule is simple. It's finding agreement before you decide what to do or not to do. As long as there are no differences, there is no need to use the One Rule. Remember that earlier I said I'd become 1, 2, 3 clear about the process where conflict develops, the habits involved, and what to do to change that. We've covered the first part. Now let's get into the rest. You, the adult, are the example of the One Rule in action. You make sure that the rule is followed, and especially that you follow it. The One Rule shifts everyone's goals. The primary goal is now finding agreement. But remember that what everyone agrees to is something that they like, that they want, something that is satisfying and fulfilling to them and to everyone else involved. It's not just settling for second best or giving up on having something you want at all. And the One Rule is only used when differences are leading to conflict. It is a path back to harmony. That's all. One of the common habits that contributes to conflict is the adult's habit of saying no to what kids want. Using the one rule eliminates this habit, so it is no longer a player. If you had this habit, you may notice that saying no might still be your first impulse, but it will vanish as you get used to using the one rule. Another habit that can contribute to conflict is the adult's habit of being in charge. This is another habit that vanishes as you get used to using the one rule. You'll see that finding agreement is such a satisfying habit to develop. It relieves the stress of having to be in charge. And as you experience the enjoyment and relief of coming to agreements, you'll be so glad you adopted this new harmonious habit. Another habit that can be transformed by the one rule is the habit of being a bully. This is closely related to the habit of always being in charge. A bully is someone who has the habit of taking charge of other people, whether those people agree with this or not. I'm sure you can see how the one rule changes this habit. The new habit is finding agreement with whoever is involved. No bully here. Here is a story that wants to be told, even though at the time I had not yet become aware of the one rule. I was substituting in a class of 5th graders. I'd been there for a few days. There was one boy who none of the other kids seemed to like. His assigned seat was by himself at the front of the room. Then he was absent for a couple of days. When he came back, he started throwing little pieces of wadded up paper at the other kids. I wondered what to do. It was my belief that he did not feel good about himself, and I didn't want to make him feel worse. But I didn't want him to throw things at the other kids. They didn't like that. I guess I asked myself a question and I found an answer. This is one thing that happens when you use the one rule. There was one large empty wall in the classroom. I had him move his chair nearer the wall. I told him he could throw the paper at the wall for as long as he liked. He started doing that. When he was done, he picked up the paper on the floor, and not only did he not throw anything at anyone, but he was also invited by a group of boys to sit at their table. Now, let's see what other problems we can solve with the one rule. Okay, I'll stop that screen share. All right. Oh dear. Okay. Now I was going to share some other things with you. I was going to continue on the column book and maybe well, let's see about this. I was doing some work this weekend, and I was going through the FAQs in one of my books. Actually, it's in a couple of books, but this one's different. It's in the One Rule to Raising Happy Kids. Oh, that's another thing I can share with you. This is in response to a questions that someone I've been working with had about the book. And so I've done something which I'm going to put out there. I'm going to make this my free gift to whoever signs up to be on my mailing list. It's on my new website, which is happykidsco.org. It has been happykidsco.com, but now the new website is happykidsco.org. I had to change it. I had to change the website. So that's what it is. Anyway, so if you go there, then on the main page, you can scroll down and then sign up for the mailing list, and you'll get, well, today I'm going to set that up, that right now you will get this main book, the One Rule to Raising Happy Kids. But after this, when you sign up, you will get a mini version, which is very highly focused on helping people get started using the One Rule, and doesn't go into a lot of supporting information, which the One Rule to Raising Happy Kids does. Like it won't have it won't have these in there. So I thought I would share them with you. So I'm going to do another screen share so that I can do that. Okay, let's get this going. Oh, wait, here. Okay. All right. Let's see. I wonder if this will work. Yeah. Okay. All right. This is chapter 8 in that book, The One Rule to Raising Happy Kids. First question. Shouldn't my children be respectful to me first? Don't I deserve their respect? That would be good, wouldn't it? However, what I offer you is almost that good. In fact, really, it is much better. That's like asking your child to be born speaking whatever language you speak. You might like it, but that is not how it goes. Children learn from us. You be respectful to them from the beginning, and they will automatically be respectful to you. You do deserve it. You mean I can't tell them what to do? For sure, you can tell them what you want them to do. If they don't want to, maybe when you explain why, they'll agree. If not, use the One Rule. Why are you against punishment? Oh my goodness. I have to be careful with how I move this. Punishment causes pain. It is so much more effective to explain, to educate, to create understanding. If the harmonious solution is to fix what they cause to go wrong, this helps ensure that the behavior is not repeated. That's the goal of punishment, right? That the behavior is not repeated. Why not get to that goal in ways that are agreeable to all involved. Just use the one rule. What about logical and natural consequences? Natural consequences are just that, natural. I may or may not allow the natural consequences to play out. It depends on what I want to do and what my child wants. Logical consequences seems like a type of punishment. They have to be created. They don't happen naturally, and they result in suffering for the child. That seems like punishment to me. Use the one rule. What if my child runs into the road? Of course, if you see your child begin to run into the road, you would stop them. Then I would suggest that you teach them about the dangers of doing that so that they don't want to do that again. You mean I have to go to bed at the same time my child does? Certainly not. You just have to work things out with them so you both feel good with what you all choose to do. Use the one rule. What if it's cold outside? I can't tell them to put on a jacket. You can tell them, but if they don't want to, I suggest allowing them to go without it. Tell them that if they feel cold, they can come get their jacket. If you are going with them, you can bring the jacket along. Then when they experience the cold for themselves, they might want to put the jacket on. If this is a problem for you, use the one rule. What if they don't do what I tell them to do? What then? If they already agreed to do something, ask them why they didn't do it. They may have good reasons for not doing it. They may have forgotten about it. They may be planning to do it at a later time, but didn't tell you about that. Maybe they misunderstood you and did what they thought you meant. You may have said one thing, but meant something different, and they already did what you said. In any case, use the one rule to solve all potential conflicts. What if I'm afraid to trust my child's judgment? You may have good reasons for this. However, you can move from where you are to where you want to be, trusting them because they've proven themselves trustworthy. You could start with small, safe situations. Discuss this process with them. Tell them you want to be able to trust their decisions. Make sure they agree that this is a good idea. Now you can both learn what you need to learn. They can learn to be trustworthy and you can learn to trust them. You both need practice. Keep this going. It might be more effective, though it might be more difficult for you, to start with something that means a lot to the child. Discuss it thoroughly. Make sure you both understand how you want it to go. They are likely to make their greatest efforts to be successful if it is something they want to happen. Eventually, you'll be able to trust them, and they'll prove themselves worthy of that trust. Then, even if things don't go as you both intended, you'll both know that they've done their best to be trustworthy, and there is no reason to stop trusting them. What is the importance of the one rule and harmony in raising children? If you develop the habit of using the one rule, and the resulting harmony is your foundation in relating with your children, then you don't do anything that is less than harmonious. This makes children feel safe and important. This allows them to keep their inner strength and helps them make the best of whatever comes their way. Most of all, it allows the love that a parent feels for their child to reach that child so that that child can feel loved. There may be other ways for this to happen, but this is one way that works. Why focus on the one rule and harmony instead of love? Love is there. Love is a given. Unfortunately, when punishment is one of the common ways that parents relate to kids, this does not feel like love to kids. Kids do not feel safe, important, and loved. They are loved, but they don't feel loved. It is so that kids feel loved at all times that we focus on the one rule and harmony. That is the end of that. Screen share. Okay, I'm going to stop the share and I'll close this up. And we'll go on to our next ones. The one I was going to do originally until I came across that other. Oh my goodness, this is messing up. All right. This is actually the next question in the series of the column, the book that got put together from the newspaper columns I had. This was the next one in the series. Okay. We are going to be doing a lot. Oh, and now this was written a long time ago, okay? So there are going to be some things in here that are not a problem anymore. And I'm going to just read this so you know how we dealt with it, which is nowadays probably be much simpler. You'll see. Okay. We're going to be doing a lot of driving during our vacation this summer. Okay, now, one reason I was looking at this and thinking of maybe not doing it because it's definitely not summer anymore. But there are people that are going to be doing driving and traveling for Thanksgiving and Christmas here, and maybe and other holidays. Sorry. Anyways, so this could be applicable, and there may be other reasons people have to be in the car a lot, and this could help too. Okay. We're going to be doing a lot of driving during our vacation this summer. Do you have any suggestions for making this easy and enjoyable? First, it is important for ease and pleasure that your family be used to. Okay, this was before the one rule. I would just say use the one rule now. But I'll read this anyway. Be used to negotiating mutually agreeable solutions to any disagreements. This keeps tempers even and usually results in more interesting, enjoyable, and adventurous experiences than if the parents are in charge and make all the decisions. It can be helpful to have some guidelines and agreements for this trip worked out in advance. Just remember that guidelines are designed to be flexible, unlike rules, like the one rule. If decisions are made and put on the list and at a later time someone needs things to be different, then make agreed upon changes. If during the vacation one or more of the guidelines proves unacceptable, throw it out. The guidelines are to serve you by helping things go more smoothly. You are not there to serve them. The following is a list of some possible areas of disagreement to be worked on in a family meeting or a series of family meetings, and that can still happen using the one rule. Whether you drive at night or during the day, whether you stop frequently or drive straight through. With small children, planning for frequent stops can make things more pleasant. Whether you eat during your driving time or stop and eat. If you eat during your driving time, it makes things easier if you have this well planned. Making sandwiches on your lap can be messy and frustrating. What kinds of foods and beverages you're going to have. Whether the person driving minds being involved in the games or conversation. How you are going to decide about music or story tapes. Now, this is something that we did, and nowadays everybody has their device. Even small children often have some kind of pad to do things on. So that probably won't be an issue, but I'm going to read what we did, which is really similar to what's going on now. many years ago, it should be, driving with 5 children and 4 adults in 2 cars, one of our most rewarding expenditures was to buy cheap on sale Walkmans for everyone. This Walkmans, this was before CDs even, definitely before MP3s. And they played cassette tapes. This made long hours of driving easy and pleasant. The driver got to listen to the car radio or tape deck, because that's all there was in those days. There are many possible ways to work this out, but if you do it beforehand, it can make things easier. Who sits where and when? If pets come along, how they will be cared for, and who does what. Make up a list of games and activities so that when someone needs something to do, you don't just have to rely on your memory. You can also have with you what you need: paper, pencil, markers, books, etc. You might even make a trip to the library to look up books on this topic. Nowadays, you could Google it. In those days, that wasn't an option. All the family members might ask their friends for suggestions and add them to the list. If it is possible, and if any of you would like this, arrange for one or more of you to lie down during the trip. It can make all the difference in the comfort of everyone. If someone is tired or just needs to stretch out, having that as a possibility can make life easier for them and for everyone else too. Realize that all your preparation can help, but that life is full of the unexpected. And it is during these times that being practiced at cooperating as a family can bring satisfying results for all. That would be that would be using the one rule. If you're practiced at using the one rule. Then I came across a story, an example story in my first book called Parenting for the New Millennium, of a family that was going to be going on vacation, summer vacation. It's called Traveling with a Crawler. Everything, and it's an example of people working things out harmoniously. Everything and everyone is packed into the car except Dylan and Amanda, the mother of the family. Dylan is 8 months old and has just started crawling. He's been crawling from room to room since he got up this morning, watching everyone else get ready to go, exploring whatever anyone would let him explore. Amanda goes to Dylan and shows him his travel cup with juice in it. She bends down to pick him up. "Come on, Dylan, it's time to go. Would you like some juice?" Dylan sits up and reaches up to her and the cup. She picks him up and hands him the cup. He drinks thirstily as she carries him out to the car. When she starts to put him in his car seat, he arches his body, lets his cup fall to the ground, and cries out his protest. "Oh no," says his sister Violet, who had all his things ready for the trip. She was going to be his caretaker in the back seat. His brother Kevin groans. His mother holds Dylan and comforts him. "It's okay, Dylan. We'll work this out. Don't worry." "But Mom, he has to be in a car seat. It's the law." "Yes, I know, but we'll have to work something out that works for him too. Can you imagine 7 hours in a car with him screaming every waking minute? I could not do that." "Don't worry, Mom. We would hate it too," says Kevin. "I think we'd better have a family meeting about this," says Patrick, the dad. "I'm going to let Dylan crawl out here, so maybe we should have our meeting on the grass," suggested Amanda. "I know that most of us are ready to go and that we've worked hard to get packed. I realize it might be a little disappointing not to drive right now, but I don't see how we can. Remember, we have a month of vacation coming up, and I propose that we only drive when Dylan is sleeping or content to be in his car seat. What do you all think of that?" "I think it's workable, even if it takes us 2 or 3 days to get to the campground. Of course, we could drive at night. That way we'd be sure to be there by tomorrow." "But Dad, I don't want to drive at night. I like to see where we're going, and I don't like to sleep sitting up in the car." It was just a suggestion, not something we have to do. I like to see where we're going too. "Do you think Dylan will go to sleep soon, Mom?" "Probably within an hour, maybe 2. This crawling is very exciting for him, but it tires him out too. I want to go over to Meadow's house. She said she's going to be home this morning, and I'm sure she'd be glad to see me, says Violet. That sounds fine to me. Why don't you call her and check it out? Kevin, I'd really like to get out the topo maps and show you some of the hikes I'm planning. Maybe we can decide on one just for the two of us, says Patrick. That sounds great, Dad. Mom, Dad, Meadow is really excited. I'm going over right now. Call me when it's time to go. Okay, we'll call you, then we'll pick you up. Have fun. Patrick, I just love it when we all work together so well, respecting each other and making the best of whatever comes along, says Amanda. Me too, sweetheart, me too. And before long, Dylan will be right in there with the rest of us. That's just what I was thinking. Okay. That was the story that I thought of. That I came across. Okay. Now, I don't think we're going to go into this next. Let's see. I don't think we'll go into the next column. I think I'll take the last few minutes to share with you. Okay. To share with you one of the things that I'm doing and I've started doing. I've mentioned a few times that I'm putting together an affiliate program, and people that sign up as affiliates can earn 50%. Well, we do a 50-50 split. And right now I'm in the process of contacting Montessori group, Montessori schools. That's because that's my background. And I think that this approach is very aligned with how they are used to dealing with situations. This is at the moment specifically for their parents, but other people can sign up as affiliates too. I'm going to be in the next few days getting that process finalized. So it's really easy to sign up, and the affiliate program will, it'll be, part of it is getting set up to be able to pay the affiliates. So, okay. And each affiliate will have their own page so they can keep track of things if they would like to do that. There's also, at the moment, it's set up for people, let's say you have people that you would like to sign up. So if they purchase something, they can just put your name. And as long as you're signed up with me as an affiliate, then we'll make sure that you get your revenue split on this. Okay, so, well, I hope you have all have a great week and enjoy using the one rule. And today I will set up the new gift. So if you go and sign up, actually, I can send it out to the people who already have signed up. That's what I will do. And if you haven't signed up, you can go sign up and get your copy. Okay, wish you well. Have a good week.